An earth-shattering event happened in Congress. House Democrats removed $1 billion for Israel's Iron Dome defense system from an emergency funding bill and later put it back in a different bill. But there's more happening than you think, and it affects all of us. This is not a right-left issue. It's not even an Israeli-Palestinian issue. It's much deeper and more important than that. Here's why. Liberal progressive Congressman Richie Torres tweeted, "A missile defense system, i.e. Iron Dome, defends civilians from missiles, hence the name. Only in a morally inverted universe would this be considered a controversy." He's right. Here's how it works. The Iron Dome is an amazing technology that almost miraculously knocks attack rockets right out of the sky. It saves lives on both sides and prevents deadly military escalations. But it's very expensive to operate, with each interceptor missile costing about $50,000. Last May, Iranian-backed US-designated terror groups in Gaza launched nearly 4,500 rockets at Israel. Hundreds of those terror rockets fell short in Gaza, killing Palestinian people, in the same way that ISIS and Bashar Assad often kill Syrians. Israelis and Palestinians are both victims of terror groups. Iron Dome is everybody's best protection. The US presented a bill that included funds to help Israel replenish its supplies for this system and to help keep everyone safe. A few extreme lawmakers altered the bill to remove this important aid, and they succeeded. But then almost every Democrat and Republican in Congress voted to reinstate the funding in a separate bill. The vote was 420 to 9. So why would 9 members of Congress vote against a defensive system that weakens terrorists and protects ordinary civilians? Why does it even matter? Because for those extreme politicians, it's not about saving lives. It's about narrative. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib explained her vote on Twitter, saying, "We must stop enabling Israel's human rights abuses and apartheid government." Both claims are patently untrue, but she used this funding bill to spread a false narrative. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, tried to block a similar bill, explaining that this was because of Israel's bombing of Palestinian civilians and media centers. This is false as well. Israel never attacks civilians intentionally. Its strikes are highly precise and targeted at weapons launchers and military headquarters. That's why much of the death in Gaza was actually caused by the terror groups Hamas and Islamic Jihad, which killed Palestinians, including children, and then gave misleading figures to the press. Some Palestinians were killed by Israel too, but most of those were armed fighters, usually affiliated with terror groups. And of course, some Israelis died, including children, but not by accident. The terror groups targeted those Israelis on purpose. Finally, the New York Times claimed that the change in this funding bill was due to influential lobbyists and rabbis. The outlet later changed the phrasing, perhaps because they realized how anti-Semitic it sounds to claim that Jewish rabbis control the government. But the article also ignores the truth, that Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and progressives believe that keeping US allies safe is actually the right thing to do. The world isn't always about power. Sometimes it's about principle. A few years ago, a public discussion in support of terror groups was unthinkable. Then we heard people speaking this way, but it was mostly limited to college campuses. Then it entered the halls of Congress in the form of a few niche lawmakers who had little influence. Now those same lawmakers have made a major change to a major spending bill, and they've done it with the misleading support of the New York Times. What starts on college campuses eventually becomes national policy. This was not an isolated event. Rather, it is a trend, and we ignore it at our peril. Honest reporting is speaking to young liberal progressives using their own framing and values. Essentially, we meet people where they are, and it's working. We have the data to prove it, and we'll be releasing that research on our website in the coming weeks. Join our effort by visiting our website, signing up for our free daily newsletter, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And talk to us to see how you can help. When we make the effort, we really can make a difference.